Terry Bell in those Daily Dodge TV studios with today's Community Comment.
Thank you very much, Jake, and welcome everybody to Community Comment. Our guests today are from the Waupun Police Department, Chief Jeremy Rasch and Deputy Chief Ted Sullivan. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning, Terry. Thanks for having us.
We've got a lot to talk about, and we'd like you to join the conversation, if you please. You can call us or text us at 920-887-9595, or you can call the WBEV studio line at 885-4446. Well, now would be a good time to get our audience caught up on everything happening with the police department.
Yeah, it's that busy time of the year coming into summer, and we got some events coming up. But first off, we'd like to thank our dispatchers for both Fond du Lac and Dodge County.
It has been quite a week.
Yeah, and it's Telecommunications Week, too,
okay.
So honoring them, and they're kind of the backbone of everything that we do, and without them, we would fail.
Absolutely. Yeah, important job. Stressful at times, I can imagine.
Right. Yeah, very stressful. That's 911 phone calls, talking to people on the phone, sending out police, fire, EMS, highway department, just a slew of different entities that they work with and have to organize the responses.
Absolutely. What else would you like to get us caught up on?
Yeah, I just want to let everybody know that the Waupun Bike Rodeo is coming up. So that's on June 12th at 1 p.m. We won't be here at the radio until then, so you got about a month or two to go before that, and that will be at the Hockey Rink Community Center location in the city of Waupun. So we typically work with the Parks Department and a number of businesses and nonprofits throughout our community to put on a successful bicycle safety program for the kids in our area.
Yeah, what happens at a bike rodeo?
Yeah. Well, first off, we hope nobody falls down, but we usually get about 50, maybe a little bit more, kids that sign up for it, and we train them different bike safety protocols, and we talk about different laws and things like that. But we want kids to show up, so we give away a lot of prizes too, bike safety prizes, bicycles, other things, a swimming pool pass for the Waupun Aquatic Center, gift cards, and a lot of cool prizes for the kids. But we want to keep our kids safe. We want to provide a bicycle helmet to them if they need one. So it's a great program. We've been doing it my entire career. So it's a long-standing program in our community.
Very good. Yeah, just in time for summer, too.
Yeah.
We also do the licensing, and then what we typically do is we set up a track that we kind of have the kids drive through the track. It's a course where we do braking and turning and how to obey intersections and what you should be doing. So it's neat, and I think our goal is to literally have every child take at least one item home as a gift. A little something for their participation, and then at the end they get a treat typically, which is some kind of an ice cream treat to kind of send them on their way. But it's gone off really well. I think last year we had 60 kids, and so we're looking to always increase the number, and I want to make sure that we thank all of our generous donors, because we have some people who have been extremely generous to the point where we have a little bit of money left over, which allows us the ability to get even nicer prizes for this year. And we give away bicycles to a handful of kids. So I think that's kind of like the grand prize, so to speak, for the age groups. So that and we buy bikes that are of varying sizes. The small ones for the little kids, a medium size for the kids who are a little bit older, and then a bigger bike for those who are the oldest kids participating. So it's great to send them on their way with a new bike possibly, and maybe transition out of one that doesn't fit them.
Yeah, that's important for safety too, I'll bet. Mm-hmm. You wanted to talk about something called the WARP, W-A-R-P, WRAP restraint system.
Yeah, so recently we purchased the WRAP restraint system. We had a number of officers that showed up to become a train-the-trainer, including myself, and then also our use of force instructor trained the rest of our department on the system. But it's a restraint system that when we're dealing with somebody who is actively resistant to the point where they could be hurt or we could be hurt, we can put them into this restraint system that makes it easier for us to transport the person to the hospital or transport the person to jail, or have them calm down before we remove them from this system so nobody is hurt. So a lot of agencies in our area are using this system, and jails as well. So I provided a picture. I don't, obviously, you can't see it on the radio, but one of our officers is in the restraint system. So it comes with a lower unit that wraps up the legs, and then kind of the upper torso area. There's a secondary system that connects the upper torso area to the lower restraint system, and then there's also a helmet that we can put on people if they're somebody that is a violent person that basically isn't cooperating with us. So it's another officer safety type restraint system that will be effective in the field when we need it.
It keeps your officers safe, and I imagine too, you'd rather de-escalate any situation without hurting a suspect or worse.
Right, and that's the goal. And then as they become compliant and calm down, we can remove different parts of the system, and ultimately the goal is to get them out of that system, that restraint system is in the end.
Okay.
I think one of the other things about it is that, like you said, there's a connection from the upper body to the lower body. So literally when you're in the wrap, the body sits upright. So we talk about the old days of hog tying, quote unquote hog tying people, putting them in the car, and we've seen in recent law enforcement agencies outside of our area where they resulted in people having some issues with asphyxiation and other things of that nature. So this is one that keeps the body upright. They don't actually have to use any of their own bodily strength to keep their body upright. It does it on its own with the system. So I think it's going to save us from those types of issues moving forward too. And I think it's just safer for us, safer for the person who's being taken into custody. And then because of all the other jurisdictions that have gotten the same training as we have, there's continuity in that restraint. So.
Certainly. Hey, I just, to my layperson's mind, this would seem to be quite an undertaking to put on somebody who, as you say, is uncooperative. So how is this deployed?
Sure, you would best case scenario, you're going to need 3 people. I think you can do it with 2, but it's going to be difficult. So if you have 3 officers on the scene, we're going to have to at first deploy the bottom part. We got to get their legs in that bottom part. So there's an ankle wrap, and then there's the bottom part that wraps all the way around their legs, and then we pull the straps tight. So once you get that put in place, to me, when I was doing it, and I also got wrapped myself, I've got to show my guys and gals that I'm going to do this. Once you get that lower part of your body wrapped up, they really can't do a whole heck of a lot, especially if we have their hands, control of their hands. So once that's in place, we can connect the rest of the upper torso portion.
Very good. We have a lot more to talk about, and we'll pick up where we left off. But first, we need to take a quick break. You're listening to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. Here's Terry Bell.
Thank you, Jake, and welcome back to Community Comment, everybody. Our guests today are from the Waupun Police Department, Chief Jeremy Rasch and Deputy Chief Ted Sullivan. If you have any questions or comments for our guests, you can join the program, especially if you live in Waupun. You can call or text 920-887-9595, or you can call the WBEV studio line at 885-4446. Last time you were on the show, I believe you talked about your application for a drug trafficking grant, and it came through, so congratulations.
Yeah, it came through. I mentioned that the chiefs and the sheriff that are part of the Dodge County Drug Task Force wanted to put in for the drug trafficking grant for different various pieces of equipment to kind of bolster our equipment that we have with the unit. So ultimately we were able to get approximately $24,000 in grant funding for surveillance type equipment to be utilized.
All right, very good. What else would you like to talk over to everybody about? The magnet gray key forensics equipment.
Yeah, in the past we had Celebrite, which is a system that forensic system that downloads cell phones and tablets and things like that. But we decided we're going to move away from that equipment and go to this magnet gray key. It's more robust and has better tools in it. And with that, we also applied for some assistance through Our Rescue, which is affiliated with ICAC, Internet Crimes Against Children, and they covered actually half of the cost, the annual cost for that for this year. So we're excited. We just got that up and running probably in the last couple weeks. So we're probably going to be downloading some phones today, actually.
All right. Drug investigation school.
Yeah, Detective Conkle recently went to the Wisconsin Department of Justice Drug Investigation School. It's a two-week school that investigators, a lot of investigators that deal with drugs should go to. It's very highly sought after, two-week course that it's been going on for a number of years already. And Lieutenant Williams has already went to that, and he promoted it to us that we should probably send Detective Conkle to that as well.
Okay, very good. And one of your officers is attending the FBI Lead a Supervisor Leadership Institute?
Yeah, Lieutenant Williams completed that also since the last time we were here. So another, these two trainings that we're talking about, it also kind of promotes our succession planning too for the future, and another great course for leadership within our agency, and the FBI does a great job with that.
Very good. You had something to say to that.
So that's he's gone. This is the second leadership course he went to. I attended the other one with him previously. So there are three courses that are in this particular FBI LEADA group. So they call it a trilogy when you complete all three. So our intentions and his intention are actually to get him to the third course that he can complete the trilogy, so it covers different levels of supervision. So to me, it makes him more well-rounded, and like the chief said, it's a succession planning thing for us.
Outstanding. Okay, well, we just have a minute before we go to break, but I wanted to mention, and we can talk more about it after we get back from the news, but a very important week is coming up in May, and that's National Police Week.
Yeah, National Police Week, excuse me, runs from May 10th to the 16th, and it's basically a week that honors those who have fallen in the line of duty within the law enforcement profession. So locally, we're looking at honoring those who have fallen both in Fond du Lac and Dodge County. So we have events at each memorial site. Obviously, the Dodge County site is right outside the administrative building on Highway 26 there. So that's coming up I think the Dodge County one is May 13th. The Fond du Lac County one is May 14th, which that one's at Hamilton Park in the city of Fond du Lac.
And so it's I think a good time. It would be great all the time, but once a year to really pause and reflect on the sacrifices that police officers and law enforcement officers make.
Yeah, and if you haven't ever been to the memorial out in Washington D.C., I highly recommend going to it. And they now have a museum that you can go into, and there's some interactive things that you can do at the museum. But a very touching sight at the memorial. You can see all the names that are on the wall, and it's free to go there. It's out in the open air. You can check out the wall, but we need to honor these people who did the ultimate sacrifice, took the ultimate sacrifice for the safety of our citizens within our communities.
Certainly.
I just, we do the one in Dodge County. It's typically attended by a lot of law enforcement, but we highly encourage any of the public, excuse me, to come and join us. Excuse me. It's a great program, and actually, I think the sheriff's office is going to have a brat fry as well. It's kind of for their benevolent association over there. So we encourage anybody to come and attend and experience the program.
Outstanding. So much to talk about with our guests today from the Waupun Police Department, Chief Jeremy Rasch and Deputy Chief Ted Sullivan. We do need to take a quick break for the news right now, but we'll be right back. You're listening to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
powered by Daily Dodge. This is Community Comment, and without further ado, here is Terry Bell.
Thank you so much, Jake, and welcome back, everybody, to Community Comment. Our guests today are from the Waupun Police Department, Chief Jeremy Rasch and Deputy Chief Ted Sullivan. Thanks for coming by today to be with us. We're talking about, National Police Week. That's coming up in May. And in Wisconsin, that is always an opportunity to specifically remember those who have fallen in the last year or at least recently. Yeah.
Agreed.
And a couple of examples of them. You had some people in particular you wanted to talk about today.
Yeah, I used to work for the Dodge County Sheriff's Office, and actually I guess to kind of draw this together, when we meet at our memorial that happens in Dodge County there, we talk about all those who've been killed within the county and then recognize those that were killed outside. But we specifically name off those killed within the county. And I was a deputy at the time, a very young deputy at the time, in 2000. And I was the first deputy to arrive at the crash scene of the helicopter that was from Milwaukee County, in which Ralph Zilka and Deputy Sungi Bang were killed. So it was down, I believe, in the town of Lebanon, so the southeastern part of Dodge County. They were just kind of southwest of Hartford. But I knew that what they had done, they had gone up to, I believe it was Juneau County. They had a homicide suspect that they were searching for. And out of the goodness of their hearts, Milwaukee County lent their helicopter crew to go up there and help search. Excuse me. And they were actually very instrumental in recovering that individual, and they did get him into custody. And on their way back, unfortunately, they flew back through our county, and I think it was fog that evening, and they lost track of where they were and crashed the helicopter down in the town of Lebanon. So like I said, I was one of the first on the scene and ended up running through the fields, and we found the crash site there, and pretty traumatic. Definitely something I'll remember for the rest of my life, and it's great that we are recognizing them for what they did, all in the goodwill that they had done for another jurisdiction. But Lev Baldwin was the sheriff of Milwaukee County. I recall escorting him back up to the crash site to see his fallen officers. But definitely something that will stick in my mind the rest of my life, undoubtedly. I think the chief also had some experience with the Fond du Lac Police Department issue.
Yeah, back in 2011, so 15 years ago already, when Officer Craig Burkholtz was shot in the line of duty and killed. One of my good friends was shot before him, Lieutenant Ryan Williams. He's a lieutenant now. He was an officer back then. It was a difficult time, but what we did as a police department, we assisted the Fondy PD, and a lot of other agencies did too. For I believe it was 4 days, we had staffed their agency so that their staff could heal and go through the funeral process, and we assisted their agency. So I thought that was one thing that I could do as not only a friend to Ryan, who was shot, but also to Craig, who ultimately died in the line of duty. It is noted that I reached out to Ryan about a month ago because we were looking for a keynote speaker for the Dodge County Memorial that's coming up, and he graciously said that he would be the keynote speaker this year, so I'm honored that he's going to do that for us.
That's outstanding. Moving right along, there's an important event happening soon. It's called the mock crash, and it's an important thing to do, and it's an important thing that we do at this time of year especially.
Yeah, exactly. So every couple of years we have a mock crash up at the Waupun area junior senior high school. I used to be a crash team member for the Dodge County Sheriff's Office, so I did a lot of the crash investigations for either serious or fatal crashes. And so I kind of got involved in it during that time period, and I've continued to facilitate the mock crashes up at the Waupun High School. So this year it's going to happen on Wednesday, April 22nd of 2026 at 9 a.m. So it'll be in the high school parking lot. And like you said, we purposefully plan at this time of year because we know that the prom season is coming up, and I think that most schools have it within generally a 2 to 3 week period. So we think it's important to kind of convey that message of the dangers of drinking and driving, or actually just impaired driving, be it drugs or alcohol. And so what we typically do is we get a keynote speaker as well. And this year we were able to reach out to the parents of a female who was killed back in 2012. So they've graciously accepted our request to come and speak. So they're going to come and talk about their own experience. And it doesn't always have to be somebody that's been directly involved. Oftentimes, we see the ripple effect of how many people are affected by a crash. And when somebody is killed especially. So it might be the immediate family, friends and relatives, an entire school, depending upon, who that person was and how instrumental they were, in the different parts of their community. But we have several different entities that are actually coming here to help us with this. So we first of all, we have our own police department and fire department, EMS. And then Flight for Life they have a group that does PR things for different jurisdictions, and they're actually willing to come and land the helicopter at the crash scene. And so we're going to have a mock crash, meaning 2 vehicles are going to appear to be crashed in the parking lot. We'll have students that are actors or actresses that are going to be injured and or killed. And then so the Flight for Life will come down and try and treat one of the most severely injured students. Then we also have incorporated the Dodge County Sheriff's Office. They will come up and do a mock traffic reconstruction. They'll get a drone up in the air, and then we also have our medical examiner's office. Medical examiner P.J. Schobel will be coming, and they'll do a pronunciation of death. So we've got a lot of different entities involved, and not only that, we've invited the Central Wisconsin Christian School over as well. So we've got an invitation to those students to come over to witness it, but we just feel it's very important. So the whole day is going to be about an hour and 45 minutes there. We'll do about an hour with the presenter where she will come and talk with her husband about their experience with their daughter being killed. And then it'll move out to the exterior of the school where we'll have the mock crash set up. So I think it's a great event. It's very well received every time we do it. We don't want it to lose the impact by doing it every year necessarily, and it's also a pretty big undertaking. The Student Council of the Waupun High School has kind of been the group that's handled most of the planning and preparation, along with a couple of the instructors there. So we've worked hand in hand with them to make sure that we're getting everybody together, everybody's on the same page, we all know the script, and that it all goes off well, and that it's very impactful for all the kids.
And when you have it every other year, it gives, I would imagine every kid who's invited to come, at least one chance to have this message resonate.
Exactly, and I think that's part of the reason we do it too. So it covers different years of school and education, and in all honesty, if we save one life, every bit of it is worth it. Hopefully this is we're saving multiple lives. We never know the impact we're going to have, but I think just even one life is enough to make it worthwhile.
Okay, and again, that's happening on April 22nd at the junior senior high school.
Correct, 9 in the morning. Yep.
Okay, very good. We need to take one last break, but we'll be right back. You're listening to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Comment on 95.3 WBEV. Here's Terry Bell.
Thank you so much, Jake, and welcome back, everybody, to Community Comment. Our guests are Waupun Police Chief Jeremy Rasch and Deputy Police Chief Ted Sullivan, getting caught up with what's happening at the police department. If you would like to join the program, there's still plenty of time, especially if you live in Waupun. We'd love to hear from you. You can call us or text us at 920-887-9595, or you can call the WBEV studio line at 885-4446. Let's have some fun with this last segment.
Yeah.
You brought with us a list of top myths about police that you'd like to clear up this morning.
Yeah, we got a list of like 10. Hopefully we can get through all 10. But,
Okay.
Maybe add a little bit of humor to our program today.
Sure thing. So myth number 1, police have to read you your rights when you're arrested.
You want to tackle that one, Ted?
Sure. Well, we don't actually. Rights or what we call our Miranda warnings are only required with a custodial interrogation. So that means that you'd have to be technically in custody with the understanding that you're not free to leave. And that can mean, we don't necessarily have to have you in handcuffs. It could be just the way we have you placed in a room or other things that make you feel that you're not free to leave. If you feel you're not free to leave, then technically it would be a custodial interview or interrogation. So once we place you under arrest, you're entitled to those Miranda warnings or Miranda rights or your Fifth Amendment rights, however you want to call it. So prior to that, though, we really do not have to read you your rights. If we're detaining you, detention is different than custodial. So we may detain you and say, well, we want to talk to you. At this moment, we just want to talk to you. We want to, gather facts or whatever it may be, depending upon the scenario here. But we don't have to do it at that point. So we can't speak with you without having to read your Miranda warnings. It's just, it's up to you what you want to say, I guess.
Sure. I'm guessing that misconception comes from TV shows and movies.
Of course.
And we might arrest somebody and not want to question them, so we wouldn't have to read them their rights in that case.
Oh, okay. Helpful to know. All right. Myth number 2, police need a warrant for every search.
Yeah, that's not accurate. There's several exceptions. If somebody gives us consent to search them, or let's say a vehicle or a house, probable cause, search incident to arrest. There's other things like the emergency doctrine, which you could consider a search where, let's say, we get a 911 call to a residence and we feel that it is in immediate need to enter that house to help with an emergency. We could go in that way. Or there's a bunch of other exigent circumstances. Our law is not always black and white. There's a lot of gray to some of things with searches, but ultimately, if we're working a case, let's say it's a drug case and we want to search a house, we're going to put that evidence together, take it to the DA's office. They're going to give us their thoughts on the search warrant, and then we'll have to have a judge sign the warrant.
So what if you ask me if you wanted to conduct a search of my vehicle or my home, and I say, get a warrant? Can I do that, and would you have to comply at that point?
Yeah, it depends upon the circumstances. And I think we forgot a big one is reasonable suspicion is also another exception there.
Okay.
And I'll give you an example. An example of that would be I walk up to your car after a traffic stop and I say, hi Terry, I'm stopping you for speeding today. And I smell a very strong odor of an illegal substance, such as marijuana emitting from your vehicle. That in and of itself will give me reasonable suspicion to search your car then. That's considered plain view, plain smell kind of a thing. So there are circumstances that we could do that then. So I would actually, later on say, Terry, I'd like you to step from your car and I'm going to search your car based on the smell that I had received when I was first talking with you. But in this scenario, if I'm just approaching you, Terry, and you're on the street and I say to you, hey, Terry, how you doing? If I have a reason to believe that there might be something amiss, you left some building suspiciously, where we think you may be concealing something. If you deny my consent to search you at that point, I may have to get a search warrant to either proceed any further or have a higher level of suspicion, such as probable cause, to be able to search you or search, your car or wherever it might be that you're nearby. So it gets sticky, but there are so many other variables and that's why it's so difficult to just say it's a blanket statement. So many different variables that can apply that would allow us to search or not. So I think what we do is typically we've got a larger scenario. We know there's where criminal conduct has occurred. Our safe bet is to just get the search warrant. We may even get consent. We may just elect on our own behalf to say a search warrant is safer. The courts have approved it. They've then read all of the circumstances that we have collected that would make that a worthy, to grant that search warrant, I guess.
Okay, good to know. Myth number 3, you can't get a speeding ticket if police don't show you the radar.
Yeah,
Or what? Yeah.
So a lot of times we pull somebody over and they say to us, well, I don't believe that I was speeding. I want to see your radar reading or your LiDAR, which is laser reading. We're not going to allow people in probably 99.9% of all stops to actually see that piece of equipment because we're now pulling you out of your vehicle. You have traffic concerns, other safety concerns, and now we're going to allow, we don't want to allow you to get near our vehicle, which could, you would have
Is
to
this a
basically-
safety thing? Is
a
this
safety thing. You
yeah.
would basically have to get into our vehicle to look at our radar display. So we're not going to allow that. And also note that in some circumstances, we don't even need a radar or LiDAR reading to actually cite you for unreasonable or imprudent speed. So based on like my training experience or Ted's, we've been patrol officers, we've been law enforcement officers for a long period of time. We know if somebody is traveling at a high rate of speed in a 25 mile per hour zone. So if they're going approximately 50 miles an hour, we could actually write that citation for unreasonable and prudent speed. So
The other thing I would just add is, we don't know what a person's intentions are if they claim that they just want to view our radar unit. Once we get them out of the car, we're at a disadvantage physically then where they could do anything they want to us. So if they want to attack us or run off or do whatever it may be, maybe they know they have a warrant for their arrest and this is just an opportunity to get up and run. It's just, I think we could say generally speaking, it's not a good situation for any of us to let anybody out of a car at that point.
Okay, myth number 4. Undercover officers must tell you if they're asked if they're a cop.
yeah, and I've never worked undercover, but obviously that's false.
This is another one we see in TV shows and movies a lot.
Yeah, they're not gonna. So if let's say we got one of our undercover officers doing a drug buy, and suspect says, "Hey, you look like a cop. Are you a cop?" Our police officer is not going to tell them that they're a cop because they're doing an undercover sting to try and buy drugs.
Right, exactly. Okay, myth number 5. All citations revenue comes back to the police department.
Yeah, that's not true. So there's a lot of different places in which the fees associated with a citation actually is dispersed to. So on a $98.80 citation, so that's basically a speeding ticket in the city of Waupun that goes to municipal court here in Beaver Dam. That's like a 1 to 10 over, speeding citation. The PD it comes back to the city actually, first off, but we only recoup as a city $35 of that $98.80. So the rest of that revenue goes to court costs, other programs within the state and the counties. So those other fees are gobbled up by other government entities.
Sure. I think that ties into our next myth, and that's the notion that police have quotas for tickets, like a monthly quota.
Yeah, certainly we don't. I'm not going to say that we don't encourage our officers to do traffic enforcement, but we have never had a quota here. I never had a quota when I worked for Dodge County Sheriff's Office either. So those are things that we're encouraged to do. We may have, if we've got people who have struggled to do traffic stops, we may encourage them, hey, you're going to be do an X number of stops, in a certain time frame. But in all honesty, though, we never have issued a quota for any officer in our city. We just encourage, the traffic enforcement, because frankly, it's what we do to keep our city safe, and we get enough feedback from our own community members, via our emails and such that say, hey, these are areas of concern. Can you put an officer here to do a little traffic enforcement? Yeah. So we'll do that, but we certainly will never do a quota for our officers.
Okay. Myth number 7, if a police officer does not show up for your court date, your case is automatically dismissed.
Yeah, that's not true. There's other officers that may be there, or there's other circumstances that come up, and they could actually push that court date off to a different court date, or they might feel that there's enough evidence to proceed with that trial.
Okay. Myth number 8, you must answer every question an officer asks you.
Yeah, you do not, actually. You have the right to remain silent, and there's the old, again, television kind of has that same line that they read every time, when they contact somebody. But if we've stopped you for a violation, you do have the need to identify yourself. That's something that we actually do. The state, says you're required to do that, and that's part of what happens when you sign for your license. You agree to provide that identification when asked, especially if it's a traffic infraction, a law has been broken. So that is the reason why. Now, if you're walking down the street, you've done nothing wrong, and I stop to have a conversation with you,
right,
and you choose not to identify yourself, that is you're right. You do not have to identify yourself at that point, but you do have the right to remain silent for the most part all other times. So, but again, if there's an infraction that you've committed, whether it be a traffic infraction or other type of law, you do have to identify yourself at that point.
Quickly running out of time, but let's dispel this myth once and for all. All police officers eat donuts and drink coffee.
Yeah, of course, we were talking about how delicious donuts were, and we actually had
Well, they are,
donut
right?
yesterday each.
Sure. Facts of
But
fact.
that's not true. And I heard this many years ago, that the myth actually came from, like, in the bigger cities years ago in the 50s and 60s, where donut shops were the only business open 24/7. So that's where police officers went to, take their break, get a coffee, get a donut.
Gotcha.
And I'm sure they're getting a coffee so they can stay awake at night, and they got to fill their stomachs too.
For sure. Okay, well, it's been an informative hour.
Yeah.
The time flew right by. Really appreciate it. Thanks to our guests today, Waupun Police Chief Jeremy Rasch and Deputy Chief Ted Sullivan. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having us.
You've been listening to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.